So for my first question I will be doing is number 6, learning with your peers. So in the beginning of the class, we were put into different groups when the professor gave us a reading, and each group had to define a different part of the whole reading. Later on, when we were given our research articles, we split up into two groups between the mag team and the web team. I chose the mag team. The mag team is where we had all the articles and we had to put them together into one magazine and find like the table of contents and how all the articles would flow together to make the magazine that we were making. So each group member was assigned 2 articles that they had to make the magazine pages for. Here's the 2 magazines. This was the first magazine I designed. It was called Behind the Screens. Basically, I'll read as it says right here. With technology and social media, adolescents are at risk of cyberbullying. So it's about cyberbullying. And this is a student's article all in these pages, along with the cover pictures and the other pictures. And then we have the writer's reflection on the right side and the work sites on the left. This is the second article that I did the magazine pages for. I'll read right here. This article is about how women can succeed in the male-dominated medical field. Intelligence is not based on gender, but by the will and perseverance of oneself. So this is the cover page, along with the pages that follow. Let's see, pages 4 and 5, 6, 7. And along with the writer's reflection. So learning with your peers, we also got to work with each other's papers. And so right now on this side, I have comments about my paper by fellow peers. I also commented on my own work, questions, and how I should use right here, use all the collected data that I had in my research. I would just comment about the areas that I had trouble in, and then a fellow peer would help me with the problem. So with this kind of feedback, I learned from another perspective on how to get all my writing together. And I felt like that was very helpful because these were just peers. They're like friends that were in the same class and doing the same thing, so they kind of knew and understood where I had my problems. So for my second question, I chose number 5, fitting genre to audience and purpose. So being a part of the mag team, I had to really be able to show what the article was about. Here in this magazine, I had to grab attention and clearly depict what the whole article was going to be about. So with Cushes, because it was more of a hard subject, it was cyberbullying, I kind of did like a dark background, and I used his 2 cover pages. I used his 2 cover pages to show that it was about cyberbullying. So the 2 pictures that he had taken are right here in the front. Here at the end, I tried to highlight that school remediation of bullying was the cure for cyberbullying, which is what his whole article and research shows. With Lorena's, hers was more about how women are able to succeed in the male dominated medical field. And she tells how she always wanted to go to medical school and become a pediatrician growing up. So with the cover page, the front, I chose this picture from all her pictures to clearly show that this is a male physician locker room. And you don't see the woman, but you just see the male, thinking that it's about men. So the title shows as well. And here are just the rest of the pictures that I chose. For question number 3, I chose number 3, integrating secondary sources and writing with authority. So doing my whole research, when I was looking for my sources, I used the library's database and used keywords that would correlate with what my research was about. So I used the word like cooperative learning and student athletes. So out of all the articles that I read, I found these 3 sources. So this one, self-regulated learning predicts skill group differences in developing athletes. This article researched how different skill levels of athletes and how it related to how fast they learned or how fast they were able to. Then here is my source 2, which is using cooperative learning to enhance the academic and social experience of freshman student athletes. So in this one, they had 50 students from different sports, and they all at a certain time would test them on their academic skills and their social skills. So here on source 3, cooperative learning and dyadic interactions, 2 modes of knowledge construction and social constructive settings for the team sport teaching. Here they talked about students that were in PE classrooms, and they observed them while they were learning different sports and just socializing. And overall, after the whole interactions, the 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 cooperative learning helped them build relationship and social skills. So when I was reading these articles, I used the method that the professor had taught in the beginning of the class, finding the purpose, the claim, and the audience, as well as the evidence to each of these research articles. This method made it so much easier for me to understand all the sources that I had collected. And now that I can understand how to read these sources, because they're really hard to understand when you just go in reading it, I feel that finding the purpose, the claim, the audience, and the evidence was just a better and easier way to understand what I was reading. And I feel that's how my reading over the semester became really, really, really developed, and having a more better understanding of the whole research and article altogether.